If You Give a Rake a Ruby. Written by Shana Galen. Narrated by Lucy Rivers. Copyright 2013 by Shana Galen. This unabridged audiobook is published by arrangement with Casablanca, an imprint of Source Books Incorporated, and was produced in the year 2013 by Tantor Media Incorporated, which holds the copyright thereto. Cytherean Intelligence Column, Morning Chronicle. And so our flaxen-haired Duchess of Dalliance exits the scene with her dangerous duke and becomes a duchess in truth. We suppose this is the last mention of her we will make in this lowly column, as we are concerned with the doings of the demi-monde, not the haute ton. Now to the question on everyone's lips. Who will snare the next gentleman of the ton? Perhaps one of the two remaining diamonds will set the parson's mousetrap for an earl, or even a marquis. The ladies of society flirt and simper with newfound desperation, fearing their ranks will be further sullied. And fear they should. Lately, one cannot but note the ravishing Marchioness of Mystery has been courted by none other than the Duke of E., Lord K., and even H.R.H. Could the Gypsy Queen be our next English Queen? Not if the Princess of W. has anything to say about it. But who is this dark-eyed, enigmatic beauty? From whence does she hail? One dear source insists she is the daughter of a fallen Maharaja. O fair Fallon, we beg one paltry clue. We shall feast on the rumour crumbs from your table for weeks. Diamonds are the hardest natural substances on earth. 1. Lord Quirley, Fallon said with a pointed look at the bracket clock on the brass inlaid drawing-room table. The hour grows late, and I would like to go to bed. Quirley smiled suggestively, and Fallon's upper lip itched to curl in disgust. But she controlled the impulse, as she had been taught, and imagined Lady Sinclair nodding in approval. Why, Marchioness, that was my thought exactly. He rose and held out his hand, seemingly unfazed by Fallon's icy stare. Quirley was not a small man. He was tall, well-built, and handsome in the most conventional way. Fallon could understand why the ton insisted on pairing the two of them. Quirley, with his dark hair, dark eyes, and tanned skin, complemented her own dark features perfectly. His height was better suited to Juliet, who was tall and willowy. Fallon was petite, which was Lady Sinclair's polite way of saying she was short. Fallon did not mind her diminutive size. It meant others often underestimated her, and that usually worked to her advantage. Not tonight. Why don't you show me to your boudoir, Fallon? Fallon raised a brow. You overstep yourself, my lord. I have not given you leave to use my Christian name, nor have I expressed any interest in taking you to my bed. You're a courtesan, Quirley said, his eyes narrowing in annoyance. You're paid to take men to your bed. Fallon was still sitting, Quirley still standing, and her neck was beginning to ache from looking up at him. What a boorish lout! Or, as her bastard of a father would have said, what a bloody clodpole! How dare Quirley stand when she, a lady, was seated? Simple, she supposed. He did not consider her a lady. Very well, then. She rose. My lord, you are exceedingly arrogant. He laughed, which was not unexpected, but certainly not the response she'd hoped for. He was going to make this difficult. She rolled her shoulders. Perhaps difficult was not such a bad thing. She needed to keep in good form.
"And you are exceedingly coy,"
Quirly said, stepping closer.
"I had not expected as much. In fact, I have been led to believe you are quite the tigress in bed. Roar."
He lifted his hands to make claws.
"Unfortunately, my lord, you will never know.
Shall I ring for my butler to show you out, or can you find the way yourself?" Quirly lowered his hands.
"I don't think you understand, Fallon."
"I've told you not to address me as such, my lord."
"I am the most sought-after man in London. I am doing you a favour by becoming your lover."
"Really? The only woman I know seeking your favour is your wife. And, if I'm not mistaken, she is quite heavy with your child at present. Do you not think you should be home with Lady Quirly?" He took a step toward her.
"My wife is my business."
"Then I suggest you attend to your business, my lord. Good night." She turned and strolled toward the drawing-room doors. She knew she would not reach them unmolested. She also knew she could ring for Titus. But that would be too easy. Quirly was slower than she'd anticipated, and she had almost gained the towering mahogany doors before he caught her elbow and spun her around.
"Not so fast,"
he began. Fallon kicked him in the belly, sending him sprawling backward. He knocked over a pedestal holding a jeweled lamp, and she had a moment's worry because it was one of her favorites. But a quick glance reassured her the lamp was not broken. The glance also revealed Quirly was getting up. Blockhead.
"Go home, my lord. I don't want to hurt you." "Really?"
He wiped his hands on his breeches.
"Because I would like to hurt you. I don't know who you think you are, but you're going to pay for—"
She sidestepped him, spun, and booted him in his lower back. The blow set him off balance, and she had a moment to grab a book and hurl it at him. Her aim was perfect, and the book's spine hit him in the center of the forehead.
"Ow! You little bitch!"
He charged her, and Fallon shook her head. He wasn't even thinking, simply acting blindly. She easily sidestepped him again, and he rammed into a settee, knocking it over. While he struggled to rise, Fallon dug her heel into the back of his neck and pressed him down.
"Had enough?"
she asked.
"Or would you prefer to go another round?"
Because she was tired and wanted to go to bed, she ground her heel into his neck.
"Enough,"
he mumbled.
"Good."
Without lifting her heel, she reached for a little silver bell and rang it. The sound tinkled softly in the room, and the drawing-room doors opened immediately to reveal Titus. Titus was close to 7 feet tall and easily 25 stone. He had a thick head of bright red hair, shocking blue eyes, and a mouth full of crooked teeth. His hands were as big as puppies, and his legs tree trunks. He did not walk so much as lumber, and Quirly began protesting the moment Titus entered the room.
"There's been some sort of mistake. I didn't intend any disrespect."
Fallon sighed.
"Titus,
I might have known you would be standing right outside." The giant shrugged, his shoulders small mountains.
"I like to make sure there's no trouble, m'lady."
Fallon had told him 100 times she was no lady, but he insisted on referring to her as such anyway. Who was she to protest? It wasn't as though anyone else was clamoring to call her a lady. She pressed her foot into Quirly's neck for good measure, then lifted it and stepped away. "Would you be so kind as to show Lord Quirly out?"
"I'll show him out,"
Titus said.
but I won't be kind about it."
Quirly gave her a panicked look, and Fallon was sorely tempted to shrug helplessly. But at the last moment